This is Windshield Hoops. What's going on, everybody? This is Jay Wilder Adams today here in Salt Lake City in this beautiful hotel room. Yeah, we're here for the All-Star Weekend, not the beautiful hotel room, but Jay Wilder here alongside Zach Radine, of course, and we got River Brown of Pick a Side podcast, the vet, he likes to call himself, right? Because we're all younger here. What's going on, River?
Oh man, I didn't even actually watch the All-Star weekend or whatever was going on yesterday and today. I've pretty much shied away from it. I haven't watched it in the last 5-6 years. It's been so boring and outdated. I don't really get into it too much anymore. But happy to be here and I'm ready for this All-Star redraft. I think this is the best part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Rising Star stuff last night. I went to my high school's basketball game. But I like to watch like tonight's stuff, a little more. The dunk contest has gotten a lot worse over the years. It sucks. You don't have the big names in there. Like I think I'm excited to watch like Jericho Sims tonight. I'm excited to see what that dude is gonna do. But you got a freaking two-way player in Mac McClung. No disrespect to him, but we got two-way players in the dunk contest now. Like I think he's gonna be fun to watch. He's really famous growing up and stuff, but I kind of wish we had, the bigger names, close to all-star type players, but we'll see what happens tonight. I'm kind of excited to watch some of that.
Dang. Yeah, I'm here in Salt Lake right now for my birthday this weekend. I'm turning 20 on Tuesday. So
Oldie.
Happy belated.
appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's exciting, but the environment here is crazy, man, because Salt Lake is so open and there's like not a lot going on here. It's like 200,000 people in this town. So all these guys are so like in the same bunches. So you see players just walking around everywhere. Like I was barely out last night because we got here in the late afternoon. I've already ran into Gerson Rosas, which is pretty funny. I ran into Luca Garza.
Oh, legend.
That's my mom's second favorite Wolves player ever. So I told him he's my mom's favorite player, and he said, "Tell your mom I said hi." So
Luca follows me on Instagram.
that's
Really?
Back to World's count. Yeah.
Oh damn, I gotta get somebody to follow me then.
dude, it's crazy how skinny these guys are in person. Like Luca looks like a big, like chunky guy on the court. He's a thin. He's
For real?
thin in person. Yeah.
It's college legend right there, man.
Right. Exactly. And then I met Jabari Smith, not Jabari Smith Jr., but Jabari Smith. I saw Pascal Siakam, and then I ran into Zaza Pachulia at the airport.
Oh yeah.
Is Pascal skinny? Because he's skinny on TV. How skinny is he in person?
He's skinny and he's not as tall as you think. Like I was looking at him, like not thinking he's 6'8". I was like, this guy's like 6'6", 6'7". He didn't look that big in person.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Okay, Pascal.
Yeah, man. He did not want anybody to interact with him. It was like he had like a security guy, like he was in the thick of the crowd in the airport, or not the airport, the stadium, and everybody's just like holding him, like security guards are like holding him, making sure nobody's interacting with him. It was weird, man. I was like, dang, I just wanted one picture. But hey, we're good. We're good. Hopefully we see more people tomorrow. I think I know where the players are staying. Because there's this hotel with like $400,000 cars sitting in front of it and a crap load of security. I think that's where the players are staying.
That makes sense.
Right. So
I have a question for both of you. That being as if we're up here. Zach, do you follow me on Twitter?
I think I do. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Well, I know. Jay, he follows me on Twitter, and you've seen my discourse with Minnesota. Would you consider me a Minnesota hater? Genuine, honest question.
no, I wouldn't.
I don't think so. I don't think you like go out of your way all the time to hate on them. It's just, you probably disagree with some takes that, especially like Joel has on Minnesota. I like Joel a lot. He's like one of the media people that supports Minnesota a lot. But yeah, I wouldn't consider you a hater fully, no.
Well, I'll say this. Everything is relative, and I've seen some crazy haters. Like Ryan Russillo is a generational talent. Sporting logically, man, he's like Kareem, bro, and Ryan Russillo is LeBron. Like,
that's actually kind of insane.
Like they're crazy. Like I've never seen him say one positive thing, man. It's just like everything has to be a bash. Like even the Mike Conley trade, like he was given the Jazz like a B+ and the Lakers, and then he goes Wolves C- maybe. I'm like, I thought you hate D'Lo. Like I don't know anymore. I thought you hate D'Lo, so I thought that'd be a positive for you. Nah,
that's interesting because Mike Conley's actually been a really good player this year.
Yeah, he's been good. He had a bad last game, but yeah, man. Let's forget about them. They break my heart. I was eating pizza at Decca, and then they just blew a lead against the Wizards, so I don't want to talk about that.
Oh my God. Thank God I
Yeah,
didn't watch
so
that second half.
I don't think I've talked about what we're actually doing for the show today. So today we are doing a really, I don't know if anybody's ever done this. It's literally a redraft of the last 5 drafts combined: 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. We're all doing a redraft combined. We were supposed to have one other guest. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it today, but we were going to have 25 picks. And so I think we've agreed pre-show that none of us have the first pick because it's a default pick, right? Luka Doncic is the first pick of this draft. Is that fair?
Yeah, universally, he would be the first pick in any draft. So, yes.
Yeah.
All right, then. So we're going to go started right at number 2 then. And the pick order is River 2, Zach 3, me 4, and then River 5. Yeah, you guys get the gist. So, River, it's your turn. Who's the second pick in the draft of 5 drafts?
This is actually kind of tough. Like, I feel like you would think the number 2 pick is easy, but I can go Ant-Man, I could go Zion, I could go Ja, I could go SGA. For obvious purposes, I don't think I would take Zion because of the injury concerns. I think his career could be short. He won't play enough games for you. And the talent is there. The talent is 100% there. Nobody's denying the talent. But do you want to bank on him being healthy for the majority of his career? I don't think so. For me, Ja Morant, I love Ja. Everybody knows him, big Ja guy, big Ja fan. He's probably the hardest to build around the 3, 4 players I just named.
Mm-hmm.
So I would between Ant-Man or SGA, I'd probably go SGA, you know. I think him also being like my favorite player in the world, but his skill set is very easy to build around. He has an inside-outside game. His ability in the clutch, his ability to put pressure on the rim is different, and he's a really good defender. 6'6", long, lengthy. So I would
Mm-hmm.
build my team around SGA. So I'll go SGA with the number 2 pick.
I respect that. Those guys are all bunched up. There's a tier after Luka of like 4 guys, and SGA's in that tier. So I had zero problem with that pick.
All right, number 3, I'm going here. I thought this would be harder because I thought Ant was going to go number 2, so I thought it was going to be choosing between Shea and Morant. But I'm going to go Anthony Edwards here at number 3. I
Ooh, that
think
hurt you, Jay.
I think he's got
Wait,
more
who'd you say?
upside.
Sorry, who'd you say? I like zoned out. I have no clue why.
Anthony Edwards,
Okay, that's fine.
number 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he has, more upside than most of the other players on this list. He's one of the younger players on the list, first time All-Star right now. He's better than, like Shea was at this young of an age. I think he's got more projectable upside. I think he's definitely gonna be the better defender in his career. I don't think I don't know. I hope he can get the whistle that Shea gets at some point in his career. But I think Ant's such a transcendent talent. He's already one of the best athletes in the NBA, and he's only 21 years old. And he's, kept a, dysfunctional Timberwolves team afloat without Karl-Anthony Towns as a top 8 seed. In just his 3rd year, he was maybe the best player in that Memphis series last year, averaging 26 a game in the playoffs, on like 40% from 3 as well against Ja, who got, he kind of struggled with Patrick Beverley on him in that series. But yeah, I would take Anthony Edwards number 3.
Yeah, I think that is an easy pick. I think those guys were the top 3 picks, in some order. I think those are the top 3 picks, with Luka being the default number 1 pick. But, to go to your point, River, about Shea, I'll go Edwards ahead because he's 21 years old. Shea's 24. I think Edwards in 3 years is going to be really darn good, especially as the game continues to slow down for him. But, I think those guys are really close. Edwards, I've said this since his rookie year, like, he has maybe the best combination of talent and intangibles of young players in the NBA right now.
Mhm.
Because there was that thing pre-draft, like, does this guy love basketball? And it was because he made football comments, but it turned out he just said he was great at football because he thinks he's the best at everything. It didn't have anything to do with passion. So that was interesting. But when you combine work ethic, I think the craziest thing about his athleticism isn't that he's strong and explosive. It's that he's strong and explosive, but he can also slow down like right away. It's the deceleration aspect that makes him crazy. Like you see it in transition where he just like stops, like when going full speed and just goes for that Euro. Like that stuff is hard to teach, and his skill set's rapidly growing. Both those guys are great. Shea's my favorite player in the NBA to watch drive. I think he's the most aesthetically pleasing slasher in the NBA right now because it's all calculated, it's all methodical, and he's so smart at drawing contact. He's going to be a 28 to 32 point per game scorer for the next 6 years. He's that good. So those are the top 3 picks. My 4th pick, I almost said Jason Tatum, but that was 2017. He probably should have gone number 2 or number 3 if he was here. But I'm going to go and throw a pick that's going to surprise some people.
Oh, I
I'm
know
going
he's
to
doing.
Paolo Banchero,
Yeah.
number 4.
Over Zion? That early?
Zion. Let me tell you why. One, I think Paolo Banchero's ceiling, while it's not quite as high as a guy like Zion, I think it's pretty darn high. I think he is Julius Randle on steroids. Like if Julius Randle wanted to draw 9 free throws a game, I think that's what Paolo Banchero is. So I think he is going to be a 28 point per game scorer eventually. He's on a crazy slump this month. He's shooting 3% from 3 this month. I'm going to bet that's not going to last forever. So I'm betting on a shooting development to hit a curve in the next couple of years, up curve. And I think that his size, his playmaking versatility, he tries defensively, which I think is a good start. Like he's not the most laterally quick guy, but he's so strong and he's actually smart in the interior and he can guard certain matchups in the perimeter. I think he's going to be a decent defender. And what truly separates him from a guy like Zion, from a guy like John Morant, it's the durability factor. I look at this dude at 18 years old, and he just looks like he has or 19 years old. No, he's 20 actually. I'm lying. He's 20 years old. He has the perfect, just like proportional, strong frame that just looks like it's built to play 80 games a year for 10 seasons. He just has that like Iron Man frame to me. And to me, that just looks like a guy who's going to last long. And for guys like Zion and Ja, I really question that. So combining the ability, but also the durability, I would take Paolo Banchero, number 4.
All right, so 5th pick, I did not see Zion going this far. Durability is a question, but I can't go past 5 without taking Zion. So I'm definitely going to take Zion here. Generational talent, 27 points per game on 60% shooting from the field. Just an absolute beast. The defense is in question, but when you give Zion the ball, you've seen this year. When the Pelicans had Zion, they were the number 1 seed. They were beating teams left and right. He was dominant. He was playing at an MVP level. And that's something you want to see. The problem with Zion is durability, but I don't think you go farther than this without taking a gamble. So I'm going to go Zion at 5.
And at number 6, I mean, there could have been an argument for this guy going number 2, but I'm going to go Ja Morant at 6. He kind of slipped a little bit in this one. I mean, he's such a transcendent offensive talent, just his shiftiness and ability to get to the basket. Like when you watch him play, you just question how in the world he does the things that he does with his gravity on the court and his athleticism. He can pass. His shooting's been, getting better over the last few seasons. Obviously, legit questions with how bad a defender he is. And there's some off the court stuff. He gets hurt sometimes, but he can be your number 1 option on a extremely good, maybe championship team. He's going to continue to develop over time. I have questions with his frame over time as well, but just his gravity on offense, and he's an All NBA type player already. He's going to be an All-Star starter this year, even though it has a little asterisk on it. I think he's definitely worth going top 5, top 6 in this draft.
I agree with you guys' picks right here, but let's take a little backtrack and talk about these picks number 5 and number 6. Like Zion Williamson in his first 2 years played 85 games.
Yep.
Right? Year 3, he's already enduring a long-lasting hamstring injury, right? And when you talk about a guy like Zion Williamson, who at 6'6", I think his athletic pop is way more important than a guy like Joel Embiid at that stage, right? Who also endured similar injuries. So personally for me, guys, aren't you guys worried that his longevity is just not going to be very good? Because I'm just looking at a guy the moment, because he's not the most laterally quick, so he's never going to be super switchable defensively. But a guy who loses his pop at that frame without the most consistent jumper, I just feel like that's a player, unfortunately, who can fall off pretty quick. What do you guys think about that?
I think those are all valid points, and I think that's probably why we didn't take them at 2, 3, 4. Because I think there's other guys like we mentioned, Ant Edwards, SGA, like SGA and Ja, for example. He mentioned Ja's frame is in question. He gets hurt a lot when he goes to the rim. It looks like he gets hurt every play. With SGA, the way he attacks the rim, it's kind of more productive. He attacks with a little bit of craftiness, a little bit of flair, finesse. So you can see him lasting a little bit longer. playing that style of play. With Zion, it's just like nobody after the guys we picked, I think, was great enough for me to pick over him. You know, we mentioned Ant, and I understand Ant. SGA, I understand SGA. So it's like those are like the ones, but after that, like guys like what, Trey Young,
Yeah.
Simons, Cade, I don't think
Simons. What's a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
I don't think you take those guys over Zion and Ja. Like I think that's where you cut the list and you're like, all right, you take the gamble, you take the talent.
All right. Yeah, I feel that. I would take Ja over Zion because even though I question Ja's durability, it's not as bad as Zion's.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I would like if I had to like pick a player right now. I'm a massive Zion fan. Like I have his jersey on my wall right now, but the injury concerns have been, really unfortunate. He's going to miss the All-Star game this year, sadly. I mean, he's so freaking good when he's on the basketball court. What was he averaging his rookie year again when he was healthy?
23?
Yeah, like
23.
that's nuts. His second year, he actually played a solid amount,
Exactly.
like 27 a game, and was an All-Star. Like when he's on the court, if he was healthy, he'd probably, number 2 on this list, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not sadly. But yeah, those are pretty legitimate concerns. I'm just really hoping at some point we can see, like a 70 game season from Zion. But the problem is, I don't know if that's going to happen.
Funny story. I actually the Zion and John Morant draft. I watched a lot of college. I actually said John Morant should have went one. Like I was very adamant before that. I was like John Morant should go one. Because I've been watching John Morant since his freshman year when he was coming off the bench. So I loved Ja from day one, and then his second year, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna be a beast. I was advocating like John Morant should go one. He should be the number one pick. After the rookie years, people were calling me dumb, like, oh, you see Zion when he plays, and I was like, all right, I'm telling you, John Morant should go one. He's like that. And then playoffs happen, injuries and stuff, and it's crazy because they're both dealing like Ja deals with a little bit more nagging here and there injuries, where Zion's injuries kind of take him out for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And they're both uber athletes, super athletic. Zion, both of their sizes are in question. Zion being a little bit too big, Ja being a little bit too skinny. But I think it's insane how we've seen over the past here and so uber athletes tend to be the ones that are banged up a lot. I mean, the guy we think of recently was Derrick Rose, who
Yeah.
first 3 years he was fine. That ACL injury, then it was back to back to back to back to back injuries. And that goes to show like the athleticism only takes you so far.
Especially when you have the limitations that we're mentioning, right? Like when you're skinny or you're too big, right? Like John Morant, guys, he's driving at the rim at 275-pound walls every other game, right? 40 times a year, he's playing a 275-pound guy, and he's just, I don't know. I'm not criticizing Ja's game. He's incredible, and he's probably the most controlled finisher in the league at midair, right? But it feels like he just has zero regard for how he lands.
Nope.
It's one leg. It's the long step thing, which is like ACL suicide. Like it's crazy some of the falls he does, man. It scares me. And he hasn't played over 67 games in a year yet. So that goes to your point that a nagging injury. I want to also tell you guys the 2019 draft story. So I watched college too. I need to watch more this year. I don't know why I haven't watched as much this year, but I usually watch a lot. I did not like Jarrett Culver in college. I was making like memes that who was that Virginia shooter that year? Kyle Guy.
Ah.
I said he was better than Jarrett Culver. That's how big of a hater I was.
Jeez.
And I remember the day we drafted Jarrett Culver, I was at a Wolves draft party, and there was a wall right here, right to my right side. And I remember we drafted him when I was hoping for Darius Garland. I sprained my wrist because I punched the wall. I was so mad. I'm not kidding. I flamed that wall. And my wrist, like I swear I sprained that wrist for like a week.
Joel
And
loved Jarrett Culver. Thought he was be a star.
dude, like
Hate
I
that for
convinced
you guys.
myself because I had to, but it was one of those things. I kept watching him in college, and I'm like, I don't see a guy who creates space. I don't see a guy once he creates space allows defenses to, pay for it because they have time to recover because his jumper is so dang slow.
Yeah.
And then I watch him in the Final Four, and I'm like, he is getting absolutely not even only against Virginia, but against Michigan. It was like, dude can't create any space. What is going on? And unfortunately, I was hoping I was wrong, but I was right in that, unfortunately. So I'm still heartbroken, man. I wanted Darius Garland, and after that one and Roy Hashimura, which is kind of a mid-off, but Like Roy's nice, but he would have been better than Culver too.
Easily.
For
Yeah.
sure.
All right, guys. Number 7 picks. So, ooh, okay, this one's good. I don't know
This
what I'm
where it
gonna do
gets
with
real good.
like I feel like the top 6 guys are without like question, right? Um I need a second. I'm never taking Jaren Jackson Jr.
Oh, that makes sense.
Even if we come down to like pick 25 and it's like him and
Dude,
Miles Bridges.
this is where I feel like the guy I'm gonna make, I don't like that I'm picking him. That makes is that bad to say? Like,
That makes sense. I would be going between 2 guards right here. Those are
yeah,
two
yeah,
guys in my
there's a
top.
guard I have in my mind. I want to build a championship team, right?
You're
Mhm.
trying to.
I'm trying to. I don't like that I'm making no disrespect. I like and dislike that I'm making this pick. I'm gonna go Tyrese Halliburton 7. I don't like that I'm making this pick, but I'm making this pick when I'm
Whoa.
comparing the rest of the pool. And I love Halliburton's game. I love his moxie. I love his leadership. I love his efficient shot making from the perimeter. I love his playmaking. There's some like Twitter nerds just saying he sucks at advantage creation. And I'm like, this is the nonsense they said about Jokic year 3. Do you guys remember that? It was like, oh, Jokic just passes a lot. That's why he gets a lot of assists. It's like, no, Tyrese Halliburton is literally the heart of the offense, just
He's a
moving,
point
moving.
guard.
He finds one mismatch. That's how Halliburton operates the offense. That's how Jokic operated the offense. Halliburton is not Jokic. Don't not saying that, but I'm just looking at the rest of the pool, and there's not like a singular like I was thinking Trae Young is the best player available, but I don't like the way the guy plays.
Agreed.
I'll be honest.
So,
That's I think like out of all these guys, the guards, Darius Garland's the best guard on this list.
mm-hmm.
Darius Garland, I think, is better than Trae Young. I think he's better than Tyrese Halliburton, and he doesn't have the numbers for me to give you an exact statistical. Oh, he's doing this, that, third. But
Yeah.
it's more if you watch all 3 of them play.
Yep.
The way Darius Garland can control a game, the way his ability to create space, shoot the ball, his inside outside game, his between game in the pick and roll, I think he's much better as an offensive distributor than both. He's a better
Yeah.
offensive playmaker than both. And then defensively, he gives you more than Trae Young. And that's
He
all you can
does.
really ask for.
I give you more than Trae Young.
Yeah, maybe not Halliburton because Halliburton's bigger. He has the
Yeah.
size. But
I was
that's it.
considering that.
I would have took well, actually, you know what? Go ahead, because you helped me out. So,
Your
have
picks
at
up.
it.
Okay, but let me go back to the Tyrese Halliburton point. He's not a great point of attack defender right now, but as he grows out his frame, I think he will be a good point of attack defender because he cares on that end, and he's a really smart team defender. So I'm just considering like the entire thing. Like Halliburton is not an aesthetically pleasing creator, but he gets it done. He's averaging 20 points per game on super efficiency, right? And I love the way the guy's made of. I think I trust his durability a little more than Darius Garland. Durability matters to me. So like Darius just gets knacked up a lot too, you know. So I'm just going to take the big guard who's super efficient, who cares on both ends of the floor. I'm not saying Darius doesn't, but Halliburton's more capable. Trey doesn't care on defense. And I really like Halliburton. There's like I was
No,
looking at
no LaMelo love.
7 to 16 is a crapshoot, man. 7 to 16 is a crapshoot, and how we'll see. Wait, I was thinking about Lamelo too. All right, guys. River, you had Darius A.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Darius A. I think out of Darius, LaMelo, Trey, it's crazy. People are gonna think we're hating on Trey Young. People are gonna think we don't think Trey Young's a good player. No, I think
He's
Trey
really good.
Young. Yeah, I think Trey Young is a top 15, 17 player in the world. I think he's
Mhm.
amazing, 28 and 12. But I do think these other guys you can build the team around a little bit better. Like
Mhm.
I like Trey Young. He needs to be the best player in the team. He needs to have the ball in his hands. Garland does not need to do that. Garland
Yeah.
can be off ball. He can create in situations. He can create in spots. So for that, obviously, I'm gonna take Garland. I thought about Lamelo. The size, 6'7",
Mhm.
long, can get to the basket, can shoot the ball, but
But
I
he
like
can't finish at the basket.
very
That was
weird.
what I was thinking
Yeah,
about. He's
he's
a
very
future
weird.
finisher.
But I think I like Darius Garland's herky jerky. I like his ability to switch out of situations. So I'll go Darius Garland at 8. Comfortably, by the way.
Okay, Zach, now your job is hard too.
All right. I actually agreed with the Halliburton pick. I was going to go with Halliburton at 7 too. I had number 7 on my board here, but My number 8 is still on the board here. I'm going to go with LaMelo Ball. He's the rookie of the year from the 2020 draft class. I still have concerns to know about his finish at the rim. I don't know how that hasn't progressed yet, but I do like betting on big guards. I think he's already, a really transcendent, playmaking type player. Obviously, he's extremely flashy compared to Halliburton. He's not going to average as many assists as him, but it looks better when it's LaMelo. And he's a really good shooter, 36%, I believe, in like 10 attempts per game. Maybe when he gets some talent around him, that volume can go down, that percent can jump up to like 40. But I really like the offense there. I think if he can, get talent around him and actually have a winning culture, maybe he can start trying to live more on defense. And with that 6'8" frame, I believe that he could, develop at some point as a defender. We'll see what happens at the end. But I just, he's still only 21 years old. I can't bring myself to pick somebody like Cunningham or Young over him at this point.
I think I'm going to come out of this podcast as a Trae Young hater, and I don't want to be a Trae Young hater. My point with Trae Young is, like, I was mad he didn't make the All-Star game because whether we have questions about him building a championship or not, who cares? He's still an All-Star.
Yeah.
It's one of the most dynamic offensive talents in the NBA. But his shooting off the catch hasn't been as good as I wanted it to, right? His defense overall, his ability to play off ball, right? And even the way he makes plays offense, it's like a mini James Harden where it doesn't really involve anybody else instead of like the big and you're in the pick and roll. Trae's great at that. And then it's like, oh crap, a guy in the corner gets the ball all of a sudden. Maybe didn't expect it, right? It's a lot of that with the way Trae Young plays. And I don't love high usage guards who can't play off the ball or defend. So it's archetype thing. I'm the guy who's throwing surprise picks today. I'm throwing another surprise pick. Number 10. This is a guy my opinion's changed on quite a bit. I'm going to go Evan Mobley, number 10.
Ah, motherfucker!
I knew you were
Damn.
doing that.
I was just about to take him. Jesus Christ.
Evan Mobley. So there's a lot of guys I had in my mind on this draft. I think I had to pick between 5 guys. I'm looking at Evan Mobley. I've said it from the very beginning. I don't think this is a number 1A on a championship team. I don't think that's his personality. I think he has that like Rudy Gobert, super tempered personality to him, not game, but I'm talking personality.
No, I get that.
So I don't want to build around that necessarily, but we're at that point, like there's only 7 to 8 guys you can do that with. And the thing with Evan Mobley is you can build entire defense around him. He's the best defender on the number 1 defense in the NBA this year. He is switchable. He protects the rim. I think the most impressive thing about what Evan Mobley does defensively is he recovers like no big I've seen. The way he's able to recover on space, the way he's able to react and utilize his length to get back, he's just an insane defender. And offensively, I don't think he's ever going to be more than a 21 a game guy. I don't think so. But he's such a smart, connective piece who can play make, who I don't think is going to have like a liability spot any level of the floor in a few years. I just think this is a guy you can just build a winning team around, and all NBA players are going to defend, switch, and just do a little bit of everything offensively. So I'm going Mobley here.
You messed me up, man. My whole board is in shambles. I'll be honest. I'll go. I don't think you can name 5 defenders in basketball better than Evan Mobley. Like there isn't 5 all around defend. There isn't 5. I don't even think. Like I know Jaren Jackson's getting all the love, elite rim protector, block shot. I don't think he's a better defender than Evan Mobley. I think Evan Mobley is a better defender than Jaren Jackson. I think he's better than Giannis, Brook Lopez. Like Evan Mobley is a top 4 defender in basketball in year 2. So that's he was top 10 last year. So the skyrocket was only going to go up. My team is looking real good. I got playmaking, I got some scoring, I got a pick and roll machine. I need a big.
You're building a team. I'm just redrafting.
Sort of kind of in a way. I'm doing both. Okay. Like I'm trying to do both in my head, Who goes next though? You took Mobley, which was a surprise, but it's not a bad pick. He's generational as a defender. So I get that. You know what? I'll throw a monkey wrench in here. I'm going Cade. And I'll take Cade 6, like you mentioned with LaMelo a little bit, 6'7", but I think Cade has better intangibles than LaMelo Ball. I really do. I think he has a leadership down pack. I think he has that that moxie when it comes to approach to the game. I think he has that adultship, like that mantra that he's an adult, he's the guy on the team. Everybody knows that everybody follows Cade. And then in
Yeah.
terms of his game, when he's healthy, he's already an elite mid-range shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to his spots. He still has to get a little better in the creation range as a dribbler. The playmaking is there. As a passer, he's really good. He's a good rebounder.
Yeah.
Defense, he tries on that end, and all you can ask for as a young guy is to try on that end. You can work on the intangibles later. I'll go Cade with this one. He hasn't played much in 2 years. The injuries do concern, but at this pick, this is a bit of a steal for me. Not really a gamble, so I'll go Cade right now.
It's a good pick.
All right.
Trae Young going to come off the board eventually.
At number 12, I will get Trae Young off the board.
Okay.
I mean, I could be fine with some other guys here. I wouldn't be completely against taking like Scotty Barnes over Trae Young here, but I think Trae Young has to come off here at some point. And he's still one of the more top tier talent offensive players in the league. His shooting has been kind of weirdly down this year, and I do have questions when it comes to some in the locker room. Like this is the second year where he's had issue with his coach. But yeah, he's still one of the best offensive talents in the league. He's going to be a 26-10 guy for countless more years, probably at least another half decade, and that's definitely deserving of at least a top 12 pick. You could argue he could go higher, but I do think the concerns are a little bit too high for me to go much higher than this spot. But I think 12 is a pretty good spot for Trae Young.
I feel like Trae 12 is a no-brainer. I think Cade Cunningham. I really like Cade Cunningham. He's a little bit perplexing to me because I love what he's mentally made of. I love his size. I like his frame a lot. I love his defensive instincts and his length. Like he's got a 7-foot something wingspan. He's got crazy long arms. And offensively, he does a little bit of everything. My question to you, River, is what is Cade Cunningham's elite offensive skill in 5 years? Like, what's his elite offensive skill? Because I see a really good passer. I don't know if I see a great passer. I see a solid shooter, especially from mid-range. I don't know if I see a great shooter. I want to see a space creator. I want to see like a super efficient finisher. He's really smart here. I'm trying to figure out like what's his elite skill on offense.
So I see 5 years from now, I want to say an elite mid-range back-to-basket scorer. I think 6'7", he'll get a lot of mismatches with guards. He'll be able to post them up, can make tough mid-ranges, can get them to the basket. He's very crafty in there, can make layups, finish tough layups. I think that's going to be his game, more elbow down. I think he'll be a solid 36, 38 3-point percent shooter. I think that would be around his career averages when it's all said and done.
Really?
At least at the peak of his powers, he'll be a 36, 37 point per game shooter. Nothing crazy. A little bit more like you'll have to respect him a little bit, but you'll let him shoot it because in the paint, in the mid-range game is where he puts a lot of his danger. I think he'll be, if I had to compare a player, a little bit like Paul Pierce. I think like the way, because he's not fast, he's shifty. He's not, no, I don't even want to say shifty. He's crafty. He don't beat you with speed. He beats you with his IQ. He beats you with his craftiness, his footwork. And I think that's a little bit of Paul Pierce. People used to like try to compare him to Luka. I don't really see Luka at all.
I never saw that. Yeah.
I see a little bit of Tatum, but I think he always reminded me of Paul Pierce, like that slow, crafty, inside mid-range game, get to the basket, and then the playmaking is just extra. It's just extra. The rebound and the defense, you want all that. He's going to bring that. But I think that's his game, definitely.
I got a question about Cade. Projection. This is all crapshoot. They're all young kids, right? Let's say like the high bar is Devin Booker. How close does he get to this bar?
Devin Booker is that bar?
It's like a high-ish bar. It's like an 80 percentile bar.
I think he can go over Devin Booker.
You think he's be better than Devin Booker?
I think he can be better than Devin. I think Cade can be a top 10 player in the league. Because when you got to think like, all right, so let me try to think of like a top 10 player. Like, okay, let's use Jimmy Butler for an example.
He's top 10 now?
No, he's not. But I just want to use him for an example, right? He's probably a top 15, 20 player in the league, right? Give or take. He's around there. He's been around there. And Jimmy Butler isn't the greatest skilled player. He isn't the fastest. He's the most athletic, but he's smart. He has intangibles. And I think Cade can pan out to be more skilled than Jimmy while bringing you all the extra stuff, the intangibles, the mentally strong, the leadership. So I use Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler worked hard to get to that point, and Jimmy Butler peaked out as the top 15, 20. I think Cade Cunningham peak is way higher than Jimmy Butler's.
Wow.
And that's a guy who is given around top 15, 20. So I think Cade can be a top 10 player. Peak is always hard, because it's something
Yeah.
you have to eventually. That's like if everything goes right, and everything doesn't always go right. You could see now he's already experienced 2 injuries in 2 years, so it's not ideal. But I think his floor is like a top 25 player in the NBA.
I mean, like, you could end up on the Bulls or Timberwolves. There's your peak right there.
We ended up with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. They're cool, but they
They're
ain't.
cool, right?
Yeah, they're like
I
fun
think
to watch.
I think the Butler comp is really good. I think the Butler comp is really good for Cade. That's a really good comp. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm a big fan of like what Cade can bring to the team, not just on the court, but off the court as well. I think he's
Mhm.
a really mentally strong type player. I mean, you saw that a lot at Oklahoma. And I
Yep.
think he showed that more than like any rookie I've really seen in his rookie season. And I think he's going to be a really instrumental part of, this Pistons team maturing in the future because they have so many young guys in that roster. It's
Yep.
definitely one of the youngest rosters in the league, and they don't really have any veterans on there. I mean, you got guys like Alec Burks, but I don't know how much Alec Burks is really doing for you there. And obviously Cade's out for this year, but
Mhm.
when he comes back, I think they have a young leader already in him, and that's going to really help the team's mental development. I think.
I think they need a new coach. I'll be honest. I don't think Dwayne Casey is a development coach. I think he's more of you have a playoff team. Like if Dwayne Casey went to Atlanta, I'd be like, all right, that's a good place. That's a team he can continue to get them far. But I think for like development purposes, you're about to bring another top 5 pick or top 8 pick, whatever, into the fold. You have Jaden Ivey, you have Jalen Duren, who's
Yep.
tremendous. Then you have Cade. You got guys like Isaiah Livers, Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Stewart. Like you have a team full of young guys. You kind of need a development coach. Not. You know what I'm saying?
Wiseman needs a development coach the most.
Oh God, I just remembered they got Wiseman. Yeah, they just picked up Wiseman, so that's another big that they have that's young. They have 4 bigs out there. It's young,
Mhm.
so it's kind of crazy. But that's my pick, man. Cade.
You know what I think is kind of dangerous with these? I don't think any of us are disputing Trae Young. He had to go at that point, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think he's probably right now better than a few guys we picked in front of him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
It's
like,
just a upside thing.
yeah, we have to say that for people who think we're Trae Young haters. You have to just remind them, like, no, we think Trae Young is better than a lot of guys in front of him. But
Mhm.
would he go in the redraft based on what he's seen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know.
The dangerous thing about redrafts when you combine the last 5 years is I think you have a lot more optimistic feelings toward the recent drafts because, the idea of what they can be. Like, 2018, 19 kind of know what those guys are at this point. 20
Sure.
to 22, you kind of feel like, oh, there's still hope, right? Stuff like that. Because, usually your age 23 season is usually like determining like what you're going to be, right?
Yep.
So I want to consider that. My pick is a little dangerous. I got a lot of guys I still really, really like on this board. And I'm looking at the 2021 class right now. And there's a few guys I'm looking at right now. Actually, 2 guys. Both
Don't
tall guys.
don't tell me you're looking at Giddy.
I'm looking at Scotty Barnes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were looking at Giddy.
I'm looking at Scotty Barnes.
Scotty this high, really?
13. I am still a Scotty Barnes stan. I've been a stan since college. I had him 4th my board, consider moving up to 3. I was a stan at Florida State. And look, I do question Scotty Barnes' shooting upside. I question some of his second level like separation stuff, right? But I'm seeing a guy who's going to be I think he was struggling in the beginning of the year because I thought he was pretty banged up. He was not moving well. He was really ginger in terms of moving laterally. But I see somebody who can be one of the biggest transition threats in the NBA because he's 6'7, 6'8. He's got just freaking orangutan arms and he is explosive straight line. He's got a really good feel as a playmaker. I think he's been one of the scariest transition players in the NBA. And offensively, he's starting to develop sort of a big man game, which I think is intriguing with his length. And I'm also looking at a guy who, while he isn't a consistent shooter, I've seen him like comfortable taking step backs from the mid range. He can pull up, and I think Toronto's going to develop his 3-point jumper, which I probably should include in this redraft. But I think Toronto's going to get something out of his jumper, and I still trust his intangibles. I trust his long-term switchability defensively. I just say Scotty Barnes. He's just a person I want to bet on with those tools. And he's starting to play better lately. And even though I want him to be more consistent, I'm just going to bet on the upside of Scotty Barnes at this spot.
Question, just for both of you. I would love both of you, your insight, because we have a Discord, and I threw this question. I think I threw it like 2 weeks ago, or like probably like last. I honestly, genuinely don't remember what I asked this question, but it was definitely recent. Do you think, is there a world where Scotty Barnes' ceiling is just what we've seen from Ben Simmons in his first 3 years?
Isn't that an all-star, borderline all-NBA player?
Like sort of like the connector of a championship team. He's not the number one, he's not the number two, but he's the playmaker, he's the defender, the rebounder, kind of the guy that initiates the offense, gets it going. Like, is that what we? Because I look at Scotty Barnes and I don't see superstar in the sense of like superstar scorer. I don't see a top 10, top 15 player, but what I do see is I can see a guy like Ben Simmons his first year, or like Draymond Green, like not Draymond Green, but like the guy that's like the connector of a championship team, that on defense, he's your guy. Offensively, he's a playmaker for the guy. He sets up his guys to score. Like, I look at Scotty Barnes in that breed, which people think is weird. Like, they want him to be this star, this superstar guy, this, he needs to be this Jason Tatum, or he needs to be like this Kawhi Leonard. Like, he needs to be one of those guys.
He'll never be the scorer those two are.
Yeah, you don't have to be a 30-point per game scorer, a 25-point per game scorer to impact the championship level team. And I think that's what people forget. You can average 10, 8, and 8, and you are just as important as the guy who averages 25, 2, and 3. So it's like I think, Scotty Barnes is he has all those intangibles, and he has the ability to impact the game on different facets and not just scoring.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think that could be a good comparison, and something that would lead me to believe that is he's legitimately like regressed in some areas of his game this year, which is really weird. Like, if you look at his shooting numbers in different areas of the court compared, this year to last year, a lot of his numbers are like down, like noticeably from last year, which is really weird. Like, his efficiency is noticeably down. His 3 points the same, his field goals down, his 2 points down. Like, I don't know if it was a lack of preparation in the offseason, but he's like looked worse in some areas of his game. I think he's going to be, an all NBA type defender with his size at some point in his career. And that's why I think the Ben Simmons, comp could be really good. Obviously, he's a more capable offensive player when it comes to like scoring and creating, but he's obviously more limited when it comes to playmaking. But yeah, I could see that being a good comp where he's like, somebody who's scoring a little less than 20 a game, but he's averaging like 8 and 5 assists with that, with like, really, really good defense. And, I guess I don't think the Raptors would be, too upset if he turned out to be something like that, because that's a really good basketball player.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm betting on Scotty Barnes. How about that? Like, yeah, he's had a down overall season.
So wait, Jay, in that draft, there is, I love this question because that draft is so like controversial. So
it's 2016 2.0.
Yeah, it's 2021. Cade, Jalen Green, Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Giddey Sengun. You're betting on Scotty the most?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Scotty Barnes, look, his scoring, like he was horrible to start the year. Like, he was really bad. It was really tough to watch. I was concerned. But I still think there's more scoring in there than a guy like Ben Simmons and Draymond Green.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has more of a back to the basket game. I trust him the most to expand his jumper. I don't think he's
more
ever
aggressive
a great shooter. But let's compare him to Evan Mobley. He's a better shooter than Evan Mobley right now. Is that disputed? He's a better shooter than Evan Mobley is. And I think a lot of people, he shoots better from three, shoots better from the line, right? I think Scotty Barnes, while I don't think he's going to be a great shooter, I trust his work ethic. I've seen some things off the dribble lately where he's hitting step backs off the bounce and pull-ups and stuff like that intrigue me. I think he's going to be passable as a shooter. And because I think he's going to be such a transition threat, and because I think he's going to get you on the back to the basket, I think he's going to average north of 20. I'm betting on him in that department, and, I'm not saying he's not the scorer Jason Tatum is, but Jason Tatum had a down sophomore year, right? Even Ja Morant had a down sophomore year. Not saying he's going to be the scorer those two are. I don't think he will be. But just because he's having somewhat of a down sophomore year doesn't necessarily mean I think that's just a story of Scotty. We were talking about this guy as a high upside project in the draft, and he's averaging 16 year two. Like, if someone told you in that draft you'd be averaging 16 in the second year, you'd be like, oh my gosh, he's on the up curve, right? So I'm betting on Scotty Barnes and his intangibles to put together some of that physical tools things he has that's really unique.
I think for me, my only concern is the Raptors organization. I think what direction do you go in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one or the other. It's either Scotty's development or you're trying to win. There isn't many instances where a team is trying to win and they are developing their top 3 player and
Yep.
it pans out. John Morant is a rare acceptance because the team went when he went. So it's like they went as far as he went. His development went with the team. They kept building around him. With Toronto, they're not necessarily building around Scotty Barnes. They're building to win a champ. They're kind of building around Pascal Siakam too. I actually don't even know who they're building around. They're just building. So it's like it's tough. Like, how does that work for his development where he's constantly the third, fourth, fifth guy on the court? And how do we get to see it? And then they're gonna probably bring in another top player if they don't make the play in this year. So that's another guy you got to develop. While Pascal, they've made it clear they want to keep Pascal, keep OG, keep Fred VanVleet. These are vets that want to, they want to get their numbers because they want to get paid. So
Mm-hmm.
how does the development look for me? That's really the question for Scotty Barnes in Toronto.
Good
Yeah.
point, Zach.
And then you bring in like Jakob Pertl. You spend your first round pick, a player, and then 2 seconds to go get a guy like Jakob Pertl to add another, non really creator in the half court to one of the worst half court offensive teams in basketball.
Non-spacer.
Yeah. So I mean that confused me. I don't understand their direction because we all thought, they're gonna blow it up. They're gonna trade away, 2 of their 3, 4 best, type guys. Like maybe they trade off OG to max, to maximize his upside because you probably could have got like 3 first-round picks for that dude. But no, they keep everybody and they actually spend a first-round pick to go out and get somebody that doesn't really help them too much with their problems right now. I think, Jakob can make sense with the Raptors because they need a legit center and they got that. And he had a really good first game with them, by the way. But I don't know, that their direction confuses me. I'm interested to see what they do in the offseason. I think they could, backtrack all of a sudden and then try to rebuild. But I mean, you don't invest a first round pick in somebody like Pirtle, who's an unrestricted free agent after the season, without the intentions of re-signing him to the money he wants. So they're probably locking themselves into a 4-year deal with Pirtle as well. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm so confused with their direction.
I'm a big ethos guy. I think when you are a front office guy, sometimes when you're that accomplished, a guy like Masai Ujiri, I just think he has a plan. Like, I disagreed with Toronto not trading some of those Freds, the Garys, the OGs, the Pascals, right? I didn't agree with that. Like, I don't know how OG Anunoby's value gets any higher from here. Like, I don't see how it gets any higher.
He's his contract. He has 1 more year left now. Like after this year, him, Siakam, Fred VanVleet are due for money next year.
And he's injury prone. And I don't know how much more he has in his offensive game because that's a guy 5 years into the league struggles to create space still, right? So I don't know. I didn't understand not trading OG, and there's that like redundance factor between OG, Pascal, and Scotty, right? So I don't understand those things. I'm just honestly blindly believing he has a plan right now because Masai's earned that credibility. So I'm just going to go and say, you know what? Scotty Barnes is under Masai Ujiri's watch, which makes me feel good still. If that makes sense. All right. What pick are we at? 14?
Yeah, 14.
Me?
Yeah.
Long stoppage, yeah.
Well, I can't believe JJJ is not off the board yet, but it's tough. I am sitting right now between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Shed Holmgren. And the reason why I'm sitting with that is because do I take the gamble on Chet, who I know is going to be an all-NBA defender? He's going to be able to protect the rim. What is his offensive game going to look like? As opposed to Jaren Jackson, which I kind of know what he's going to be offensively, but I know he's a DPOY candidate every year, but still struggles with fouls. I think in this reality, teams like upside, and in this hypothetical, I take Shed Holmgren. I think his upside, him being much younger than Jaren Jackson, and he has that upside of a DPOY candidate. Offensively, he has the ability to stretch the floor, space out, be a stretch 5, stretch 4, whichever one you want him to be. 7'2". The injuries are a concern, but so with Jaren Jackson Jr. That's
Mm.
also a thing too. And his fouls are just as concerned as injuries. So it's the same thing. But Shed, you take the upside. In college, he had soft touch around the rim. The frame is a question mark, but the shooting was there. And, that's the only thing I can go off right now because he hasn't played an NBA game yet. But I take the gamble on this because I think these two are similar type bigs, but I think Shed offers more upside. So I'll go Shed on this pick.
Want to hear something funny? Chad Holmgren, his mother is friends with my aunt.
No way.
No, yeah, way. He went to the same school. So I'm from Minneapolis. He went to the same school as a kid as my cousins went to, and my aunt worked with his mom.
Wow.
They worked in the same business, so they still talk. They had they were hanging out like during Chet's draft process. Like it's pretty cool, like getting that personal, like hearing some of those personal things I would never really reveal. You know what I mean? But like,
That's cool.
it's pretty cool hearing about like his draft process and stuff. Like with a little more idea. It was cool. I told her like I understand in the NBA you're very lonely, so if you ever need a friend, I can be his friend. But
Good marketing.
right? So I definitely did an elevator pitch right there. And Chet was my number one prospect. It was 1A, 1B with Paulo. Chet's injuries really concern me, which probably should have had him at 1B for me. But you said it. I think his defense is ridiculous. And it's not only the shot blocking, it's just the rim deterrence. Like his rim deterrence is ridiculous. It was at Gonzaga, like ridiculous. And I think offensively he has way more offensive upside than people think he does because he's so fluid. His handle is tighter than people think. His playmaking is good. I think he's going to be able to create space off the dribble going forward if healthy. So I think Chet, if healthy, would probably be like top 6 on this board for me, top 7. Like if he was really healthy. But that's the big question with him.
Yeah, I want to add to that Chet pick for a second because I remember back to, before Mike Schmitz went to the Trailblazers, he had one of his last shows, he was talking about Holmgren and, after an interview he had with him saying that Chet was like the most mentally tough player he's like ever evaluated and that he doesn't give a crap who's in front of him. He's just going to do everything to beat them. And I think he's got it mentally and he's probably one of the more tough basketball players when it comes to that. Like he doesn't give a crap about his size and he doesn't care if he's against Giannis. He thinks he's going to win that matchup. And that's not something a lot of players have. But to go here at number 15, I'm going to take a guy that I know there's a handful of GMs that would take this guy number 1 overall in a redraft. And every time I tune into a Magic broadcast, they're talking about this dude and how they want him to go number 1 in the redraft. And I'm going to go Franz Wagner. I think he's already somehow one of the better slashers in basketball in his 3rd year. He's one of the more efficient players when it comes to attacking the rim. He's already an efficient 20-point per game scorer. He can shoot the basketball. He's got upside on defense, and he's been the best player from that 2021 class. I don't even think that's very arguable this year. He's been
Evan Mobley still, but
no. I forgot about Evan Mobley. Okay, second best player. Second best player. Evan Mobley, he got number 1 over Wagner. But I think he's already I think he's got so much upside as this slasher in the future, and I think he's going to be a career, 24, 25 point per game guy with good defense. Yeah, so like I think he's worth a top 15 pick.
I love Franz's driving.
Great pick.
I'm one of those guys. I remember listening to your podcast last year, and you guys are like roasting the heck out of Franz. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I think you compared him to Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I probably did. I'm really tough on guys when they're trash at the moment. So, I probably did.
My favorite thing about Franz is just his like unpredictability when slashing. Like some of the weird, like unorthodox footwork and timing, you never really know when he's going to shoot. And you add that to a strong 6'10" guy, like that's really hard to stop. Like he's the Magic's Jaylen Brown,
Yeah.
So he's going to be a stud. Okay. Oh yeah, one last chat point. You know this. When you are a really big, skinny guy, you're not going to come out onto an NBA court and just get players' respect, right?
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it. And the fact that Victor Oladipo and Kevin Durant have been talking nice about him, like saying, oh, yeah, that kid has it. Like Victor Oladipo especially. Like I kind of get Kevin Durant's big, skinny guy too, but Victor Oladipo especially, Like, I think that's very telling that this guy can play if healthy. So, want to add to that point, the ethos element. What pick is this? It's
16.
16.
Yeah, 16.
Let's hope that's right.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's right. It's right.
Yeah, 16.
Man, this is going a long time. Oh man, this is hard. This is really hard. This is really hard. Ah, I don't know who I'm picking yet. Give me like 15 seconds.
There's a guy from 2021 that is still there, and then you got a top deep point candidate. Those are two guys I'd be looking at right now.
I know who you're talking about, and
Yeah.
oh man, I don't.
I wouldn't even touch that guy from 2021. I'll be honest.
There's two of them. There's two of them. There's one I wouldn't touch.
There's three of them.
Huh?
There's three of them now. We're in the numbers where it's three of them.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think
I'm not picking Jared Jackson Jr. because I'm a proud hater.
Well, if you don't pick him, I'm going to pick him next.
Good.
Because there's no 2021 guy I'm picking.
I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to swallow a bullet right here. Darn. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going to make the last. I don't know who I'm picking. 5, 4, 3. I can't take him. 2. I don't like this pick. But
start to like it. Say it.
Benedict Mathurin.
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't know. I was thinking between. There's a lot of guys I was thinking between.
Benedict Mathurin.
I picked him. Yep. I don't know if I like the pick or not.
Over Sengun?
Yeah, Sengun. I wasn't even considering him.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
The only reason I wasn't considering Sengun is because I don't love small centers who lack length and agility and defense. Those never work in the playoffs. So I went Benedict Mathurin because I love his frame, right? He is big, he's bulky, he's lengthy, he's explosive. He's incredibly intense. I love the way what he's built mentally. But additionally, his jump shot, pure butter. He can pull up, he can finish through you. He's not afraid of contact. And I think throughout the year, I think you're going to see him extend that bag he has. It's a little limited right now. He has a pull up, he has a step back. That's really it right now. But I think over the next couple of years, he's going to expand that a little bit. And I think he's going to follow a Jaylen Brown-ish player, like not quite Jaylen Brown, but sort of on, like, I don't know, 10% discount Jaylen Brown. I think he's going to be something like that. I just think he's one of those guys, like, I'm taking the 6'6" wing because I think he's going to be able to defend in the playoffs long term. I don't think he's going to be a good playmaker, but as a secondary guy, maybe high in tertiary, I think he's going to be really good.
Wild pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Shaedon Sharpe right here. I am taking.
Wow.
So you called me wild, and then you take Shaedon Sharpe 17.
I am taking Shaedon Sharpe with this pick. First of all, his athleticism is, I don't even know how to explain it. His bounce is ridiculous. His ability to get to the rim, I just like he hasn't shown a lot, but the spurts he has given, he's shown he can be a good shooter. He's shown he can get to the rim. He's shown he can be an okay playmaker. Defensively, he's been solid by the numbers and his minutes. Mm-hmm. His matchup difficulty is actually above average, especially for a rookie. So that's something you would like to see. I think he can pan out. 6'6", long arms, good frame. I think he pans out better than Jalen Green. I think he pans out better than Josh Giddey, Sengun, Jaren Jackson, all these guys. I think Shaedon Sharpe is a hidden gem in this class, and I'm going Shaedon Sharpe right here.
17's crazy, but okay. Yeah, I respect it. I've thrown a couple picks out there.
Wild pick. I'm going with Shaedon Sharpe. I'm pulling the San Antonio, but I'll pan out.
18?
All right.
Is it 18?
Yeah, it's
17.
I think 18.
It's 18.
All right. So he was the number 2 pick in the 2020 draft. I think his fans are not going to like us very much.
2021, you mean? They know he's taking 2020 number 2 pick.
All right, I'm taking Jalen Green here. I do understand the concerns with him, but I think 18 is like a spot where he has to go because I think he still has a ton of upside. He can be one of the better scorers in basketball still. His athleticism, He's one of the higher percent athletes in the NBA. We all know that. Obviously, I do have the questions with the defense and with the efficiency. I don't know how he's going, like how long it's going to take him to develop, because I think that Rockets team and office and everything that's going around in the Rockets organization is so dysfunctional. Maybe he could look different with a different organization with, not just some more competitive pieces around him, but maybe better coaching and just a better front office in general.
Yeah.
And but I just think when you're betting on talent, he has to go, at least at 18. He could have gone higher for sure, but I think his talent gets him here. And, he still has a lot of upside. He's a 20 a game scorer still. And I believe he can be a 25 guy, 26 a game guy at his peak with better playmaking. And he still, will be one of the better athletes in the NBA. He's going to be a guy who makes all-star games probably.
He's one of the worst efficient 20-point per game scorers in the NBA at the moment.
Yeah,
It's bad.
which makes sense. I mean, that team's just full of, I don't like the Rockets. I hate Kevin
Yeah.
Porter Jr. I think they're a bunch of
We're just
inefficient
hating
shot
out there.
shockers.
Bro,
No, there's
bro,
very
pick
few
Kevin
players.
Porter Jr.
Jackson Jr. You're just saying it. I hate Kevin Porter Jr.
There's very few players I hate in basketball. He's one of them.
I ain't mad at you.
Dylan Brooks is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And there's somebody else right now.
Bill Brooks for sure.
But yeah, him and Dylan Brooks, I hate those guys so much.
I
Zach
hate
Collins,
Giannis, but I don't hate him as a person.
Yeah, I think Giannis is a really good person.
I hate
Sure.
Giannis's game though. I hate how he does running back dives all down the rim, and he just uses his arm to just push people, and then he travels and just they don't say anything, man. They just whatever, he can do it, So it's okay though.
His football comp is his basketball comp in football.
Derrick Henry.
It's Adrian Peterson.
No, it's Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's another good one.
Bro, I swear to God, Giannis would be an elite running back. Just the way he's coming down the court, and people say I'm hating. I think he's a top 2 player in the world, but this shit has to stop. He's coming down the court and he's just stiff arming people and then just going up, and it's like you're calling foul on us. What can we do? How we stop this? It's kind of crazy,
bro. Like if he was in the NFL, his knees would be out in a week.
Yeah, they'll just low cut him.
Yeah, and so hard, and you low cut him, you're going right at the lower knee because that's just his height, right? So I feel better about my draft pick here. I actually feel pretty good about this. Going back to 2018, I'm taking Jalen Brunson.
Whoa! I didn't even see him in the draft. That's how I know that's a good pick.
Jalen Brunson. 19. I think that might be a little low, but I've been watching the Knicks a lot this year, and when I watch him, man, it reminds me a lot of remember 2016, 17 IT? He's like a bigger, trunkier version of IT when I'm watching him operate that Knicks offense right now. He's been averaging nearly 30 points a game this year, 29.7 in 2023. Ridiculous efficiency. He's a good playmaker, and I think, his defense isn't great, but it's another one of those guys. He cares defensively. He's going to give effort, especially on the Tom Thibodeau team. Tibbs likes him for a reason, right? Just Jalen Brunson, I love his moxie. I love his just dramatically improved shot making. And he's a stud, man. He's taken a top 30-ish player leap this year. He deserves that recognition. And he's averaging nearly 24 points per game. I think he's been the Knicks' best player this year, even though I have zero problem with Julius Randle making the All-Star game. He was honestly a snub for the All-Star game. So, I just think I love what he's done this year for the Knicks. And I think the Knicks are one piece away, man. They got all these draft picks. Go for that man. Go for the man. It's not RJ Barrett. Go for, if that guy comes available, a high-level alpha wing. If you add that to this Knicks team, things can get scary. If you get rid of Tom Thibodeau.
Okay. Before I pick, I have to know where this guy went. He was the year before. I would have picked Laurie. Fuck. He was literally the year before. Jesus, that messed me up. All right, so I'm going to take him off the board. It's Jaren Jackson Jr. We're getting a little bit disrespectful now. I think it's finally time to get him off the board.
Not denying it.
Yeah, he's one of the best defenders in the league. He still has issues as fouling, but I think he can. That's all discipline. He's still really, really young. People forget that he's still extremely young, and I think what hinders him is he always gets hurt. So when he gets hurt, that takes game film, like it takes game time away from you, time to develop your game. But I
Yeah.
think offensively he can get better as a stretch, and that's going to be there. You can see in spurts when he has a little man on him, he takes advantage. He gets to the rim. His post up needs a little bit more work. When he's aggressive, you see he puts in a lot of work. You got to go Jaren Jackson here. He's definitely, undoubtedly can
Yeah, for
change
sure.
your defensive. I think the Grizzlies, when he was out, they were like a bottom 10 defense. He
And they made
came
like
in.
top 2.
Yeah, they're one of the best defenses in the league. So he's that type of impact player. So I got to go Jaren Jackson here.
All right, at 21, I'll go also with somebody that can change your defense. Maybe not to the same aspect of Jaren Jackson Jr., but I'm gonna take Mikal Bridges here. I
Hmm.
think his ceiling is a little bit lower than some of the guys I could have picked over him, but I think his floor is such a good sure bet. And I think he was averaging like 23 a game without Booker in the lineup, and now,
He
I
just
mean,
had
with the
40.
Nets, yeah,
45.
he just had a 45-point game. He's averaging 25 with the Nets, and obviously a 3-game sample size, nonetheless. But I mean, he can be a legit offensive scorer. I think he's going to be a 20 per game guy with, in and year out, he's going to be somebody that you can pick to win a defensive player of the year. He's so switchable and good basically everywhere on defense. And I really think he can, change a team's defense while being a, top 3 offensive option for you, maybe higher if he continues to develop. He's a 40% 3-point shooter right now on like 5 attempts a game, which is impressive as well. Maybe you could have gone with some guys with more upside, but I'm just such a big fan of Mikal Bridges' floor, and I think he's going to be this guy, for another 7-8 years.
Jaren Jackson Jr. deserved to go 20. I just didn't want to be the person to pick him because my Jaren Jackson Jr. Twitter history is not very generous. And I've said it,
Jackson
like,
Jr.
I think Jaren Jackson is a fantastic defender. I just wish he defended smarter sometimes. I wish he played basketball smarter. His game is very first reactionary oriented. And I think in the playoffs that gets eaten up. And then when that doesn't go well, he kind of has that, like, I love Cat, but he has that Cat like mannerism thing. It's just like very like victimized, whiny. I don't know. It doesn't elevate people around him. And it's very similar to Cat, I think their personalities are very similar actually between Jaren Jackson and Cat. They kind of both have that, you can tell they're highly intellectual people, but they got that like impulsiveness about them. I don't know. I don't love it. But Mikal Bridges, man, he makes me so excited about Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is my favorite player in the league, bro. I love Jaden McDaniels.
Are you going to pick him?
Not 22.
Okay.
I'll think about it. I love Jaden, but I don't know if I can pick him in 25. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard too.
Well, I'll go with it. I'm going with a fan favorite this next pick. So,
okay. Let's see. Who's the next pick? I got 22, right?
Yep.
Yep. And you'll also have the last pick.
I'm going. You know what? I'm going Tyrese Maxey for the Philadelphia 76ers, man. He's been dealing with injuries this year, but he's having a career season. Like, he's been a 22-point per game scorer this year. He's one of the best transition players in the NBA despite his height. Like, he is so special, man, when you get him on just those little quick decisions. Like, whenever you have him operate a quick decision play, he always makes the right pass. He always gets to the rim, bro. He can finish through you, but he has one of the best floaters in the league. He can pull up, and I think his game is going to continue expanding the way it has since Kentucky. He's just one of those people I would bet on, Tyrese Maxey. He just has all the right stuff, and he cares defensively too. I think he's going to be really good in the NBA. If he was a couple inches taller, I'd probably have him in the top 18. But I think this is a good spot for Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going to be a legit 23, 24-point per game scorer in this league.
All right. My last pick. I wouldn't be a real right fan if I didn't show some love and pick him in this draft. So I'm definitely gonna pick him. Don't care what anybody thinks. I think there's a few guys that could go, but now that you named Maxey, I think I can comfortably name this guy. I'm going Jordan Poole. I'm going Jordan Poole.
That's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, I think this is like he's around this range, if not top 25, top 30, definitely. He's definitely around this range. I watch every single Golden State game, like every single game, and I tell you, he has it. I mean, the confidence is there. He doesn't lack confidence. In any moment, he feels like he can make the shot. He should be the
Yeah.
one taking the shot. He should be one having the big shot. Offensively gifted when he's a starter. His 3-point percentage isn't great, but he's a good shooter. One of the best free throw shooters in the game, one of the best twitchy offensive players in the game, has the bag in his work, has every move in the arsenal. Defensively, he does try, but he lacks that department. Playmaker, he's solid as a secondary playmaker. I wouldn't have him as a number one. A lot of people over exaggerate his turnovers. They're just him doing too much. Not really passes, more probably
Yeah.
dribbling off his foot or trying to do a double move or playing with his foot. It's never really a bad pass. But Jordan Poole here, I think people sleep on his work ethic. He got drafted, went to the G League, then became a important piece for a championship team. I think that screams insane work ethic. And then as a starter, he's improved his game, 28 points per game as a starter. So I think people forget he has an insane work ethic. And he's learning under arguably the best point guard in NBA history and the best shooting duo in NBA history. So I think that also helps. So I'm going to go Jordan Poole at this pick.
All right, this is my hardest pick, number 24. I'm kind of debating between two guards here. I'm going to end up going Tyler Hero over Desmond Bane.
Holy reach. I'm sorry.
You think it's
Now you're making my job hard.
I am not a Tyler Hero fan, I'll be honest.
I'm not the biggest guy of Tyler Hero, fan of him as well, but I think he's going to be consistently a 20 plus per game scorer while being a secondary distributor, and somebody can rebound. He's a really talented shot creator and maker, and he's still only like 23 years old. He just got the bag from the Heat. He's been in the playoffs a lot. I think that's going to help him in his development in his future. I think he acts kind of weird. His personality is interesting, but I think he's a generally tough player, and I think it's deserving for him to go top 25.
Man, you guys are wild today.
I just don't know who I'd take over him.
You're Shannon Sharp 17, and then you're going Tyler Hero 24, and you're leaving guys like Desmond Bane off the board.
That's an interesting.
Desmond Bane was the guy I was debating between him and Hero, and I went Hero.
And I wanted to pick my favorite player, but you messed it up for me because I have to pick somebody else. My last pick. Make sure before I say I do, I'm gonna make sure that I got all my thoughts organized.
I would have picked Dyson Daniels over Desmond Bane. I'll be honest.
Damn.
Whoa, okay. You know what? My last pick, I'm going to go Josh Giddey. He's my last pick.
Okay.
He's only 19 years old, y'all, and he is
question
before
you go on your rant. Josh Giddey or Jalen Duren?
Josh Giddey.
Comfortably?
Yeah, I love Jalen Duren, but no.
Okay.
Here's the thing with Josh Giddey. I was low on him in the draft. I had him 12 on my board. His jumper is the last couple of months. His jumper is way better than I ever expected it would be. I think OKC is going to develop that jump shot, sort of like how I think Toronto's going to develop Scotty Barnes' jump shot a little bit. His scoring through the rim, bro, like his finishing around the rim is so bad in the NBL. But this year he is finishing through contact like incredibly. He's averaging over 16 points a game. His playmaking is legit. He's 6'9". I think his offensive upside because of his finishing and shooting improvements is actually really high. And he's young. He's younger than Scotty, than Evan, than Cade, all those guys. I think he deserved to be in this draft. I was contemplating him in my last pick, but I even contemplated him in the late teens. But going 25, I think this is good value for him. Do you guys want to make like an honorable mention list to cap this out?
We do that.
How many people do you want this honorable mention to be?
Should we each do like two guys, maybe? I don't know.
How about 3 each? Let's all do 3. Is that cool?
Yeah. Do you want to do like different picks or like this? We can pick the same guys.
Yeah, just pick guys you won't make it. Can I go first because I had the last pick?
Go ahead.
All right. First, Jaden McDaniels. I love you. Devin Vassell is another guy I was thinking about. Who's one more? And Desmond Bane. Jaden McDaniels, Devin Vassell, and Desmond Bane are my honorable mentions. Zach, you next?
Sure. Yeah. I'll go Desmond Bane because he would have been.
I already picked Desmond Bane.
Oh, it's different ones. Okay. If we got to go different, then
I have my 3 already. I'm ready.
I would put Yeah, I get James. This is not one of your guys. I know this. You've talked crap about this guy a lot over the years, but I would probably take DeAndre Ayton right there, and
Yep.
I would also go with.
Valid.
I have legit concerns with this dude's health and the contract he's on, but I think Michael Porter Jr. is such a legit scorer in basketball, and screw it, Jabari Smith Jr. We'll go with him too.
All right, so I'll go Anthony Simons. I don't know how you guys forgot about him.
Oh man,
Well, I
yeah,
didn't forget about him.
Then I'll go. That's
I
crazy.
would have got him.
Then I'll go Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey deserves
Yep.
a little bit of love. And then I'll go Keegan Murray. I'll show some love to this class. I think especially what Keegan Murray has shown what he can do for a playoff team. And when you give him more touches, he just looks better and better. Defensively, he's there. So I'll definitely give this class a little bit of love. I'll say Ivy, Murray, and Anthony Simons.
Those
Yeah,
are good picks, man. I'm shocked none of you guys mentioned Jalen Duren because you were just talking about him.
No, I thought about it, because he's a grown man at 19 years old. It's kind of insane. But I think there's a few guys you can put it. Centers it's hard for centers, to be
Yeah, I agree.
top players in the league, so.
I think he's on that Robert Williams path. I think he's ahead at the same stage. I think his scoring upside's a little superior, but I think similar skill sets.
Yeah, I think he could be more dominant than Rob Will.
What's your take on Jonathan Kuminga? Because I know I've seen you on Twitter, defending your man a lot.
I would have said him. You guys are lucky. I would have said him and blew this whole draft up. But I was like, you know what?
You already did that with the Shaden Sharp pick, and I like Shaden Sharp.
Now, Kuminga, I just think people don't watch him enough. I think they miss out. They've missed out on his improvements game by game. I think his numbers won't tell you he improved, obviously, because he's playing with, a big three and then Poole, Wiggins. But I think game to game, he coming out the draft, he was, and scouts said it. This is not just me being a fan. He was one of the most his potential was one of the highest out of all the drafts, but he was the rawest. So that was the thing: raw talent, but high upside, extremely high upside. So coming out last year, his rookie year, a lot of his stuff was low IQ. He didn't. The game was too fast for him. This year, in the beginning, was a little bit of that the same, but over the last 2-3 months, maybe 4, he's definitely picked it up defensively, being their POA defender, taking guys, the best guys like Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. He's taking those over Wiggins sometimes, which is something that if you're doing that, Kerr trusts you much. He's now been in the right spots, been in the dunker spots. He rolls at a really high rate. He's a good finisher now, shooting the 3-ball really well as of late from the corners, especially. Hitting open jump shots become more respectable and just making good reads. And I think that's what you want to see out of guys, because when young guys go on championship teams, they have to be able to impact the game right away. Yep. And he's been able to do that as of late. So I think the upside is there, but you want to just see him contribute to winning basketball first before you do all the extra stuff, because that's more important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to recap all of our draft picks. So we had Luka number 1, we had SGA number 2, Ant number 3, Paolo 4, Zion 5, Ja 6, Halliburton 7, Garland 8, 9 LaMelo, 10 Mobley. Who had 11? You had 11, right, Riv?
Yeah, if you went Mobley, yeah.
Who'd you go after?
Did he go Cade?
I did go Cade.
Yeah, and then I went. I think it was LaMelo after that, or was that
no? LaMelo went 9.
Oh, then I went. Who did I go after that?
Why didn't we write this out?
I don't know. I just kept putting X's next to names on my big board.
Actually, insane. We didn't write this out. I don't remember half my picks. It's in the video. I picked Shet. I think after Cade, I went Shet.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And then you went Shaden 17. I'll never forget.
Yes. Then I went Shaden.
And you went SGA number 20.
2. No, I went SGA 2.
No, or JJJ. My bad.
Yes, J, and then I went Poole.
And then Poole. Okay. Zach, do you remember your picks?
I remember when Ant 3, Ja 6, LaMelo I think was 9.
Yep.
And then 12 was Trae Young.
Yep.
Trae Young.
15 I believe was Wagner. 18.
Yes, you did go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then 18 was Jalen Green. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Jalen Green. 22 was Mikal Bridges, I think.
Yep.
And then my last pick was Hero. Yeah. So 24 was Hero.
Just writing this all out. Tyler Hero 24. Yeah, we'll probably write something out at the end of this. We got most of these picks, but I feel like we all knew who was picked, like in this. So I feel good about my picks, even though I need to like take a second to remember my picks.
I feel great about mine.
Yeah, I feel good too. That was hard. I think after the top 6, I think the top 6 were hard to argue.
And we're still missing a lot of guys, man. Like a lot of good guys with a lot of high upsides and potential. You know, I thought like it's funny because we were getting to 20, and I was like, when are we gonna mention Poole, Maxey, Hero, Simons? Like, when are we gonna talk about those guys?
Yeah, I took Tyrese Maxey 22, right? And then I
Yeah.
took Josh Giddey 25.
Yep.
And then you took Zach. Who do you take 24? You took Tyler Hero. That was a wild pick.
Yep. I could have gone Desmond Bain. We'll just
we actually we went Maxey, Poole, Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Who picked? You took Jaren Jackson 20.
Yeah.
I had the 19th pick, right? I don't even remember who I took.
You took a wild card.
A 19?
Matherin.
I took him 16, didn't I?
Oh. I can't remember if you took Matherin 16 or
who did I take before?
Oh, did you take Jalen Brunson?
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson. That was
19.
That should be a wild card, to be honest.
Hindsight 2020. I mean, one season, it's tough.
I took Scotty Barnes 13.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Who'd you take 14?
He took Chet, I think.
Chet, yep. Big Chet, yes. Holmgren, yes, sir.
Okay, I think I'm missing one more. And then you took Mikal Bridges 21, right?
Yeah.
And then who'd you take? Riv, you had 20, right?
Shaden 20. I took.
Oh yeah, you took Shaden Sharp 17. That's right.
Yeah, I took Jaren Jackson at 20.
Okay, I think I got the order right. So Luka went number 1.
Yes.
Jay went number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ant went number 3. Paolo went 4. Zion 5. Ja 6. Halliburton 7. Garland 8. LaMelo 9. Mobley 10. Kate 11. Trey 12. Scotty Barnes 13. Chet 14. Wagner 15. Benedict Mathurin 16. Shaden Sharp 17. Jalen Green 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brunson 19. And then 20,
Jaren Jackson.
DJ. 21, you went Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
22, I think I went Tyrese Maxey.
Yep.
And then you went Jordan Poole 23.
Mm-hmm.
And then 24, Tyler Hero. And 25, Josh Giddey. I don't even like our redraft.
That's a tough one. Because there's a lot. It's a tough one. Redrafts are tough.
I would have taken Vassell before Hero.
Ooh. Who you taking?
I would have taken Vassell before Hero.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for that one.
And Desmond Bain. Heck, I would have even taken Jaden McDaniels before Tyler Hero.
Yeah, maybe I would have too.
Jaden. I'm going to go on my Jaden right here. Jaden McDaniel's been the best wing defender in the NBA this year. Like his metrics are looking like Steph's metrics for shooting. Like every single graph, when you talk about rim protection, when you talk about off-ball defense, on-ball defense, screen navigation, for difficulty and success, he's on the top right corner on like all of them.
He's an outlier.
He's been better than OG?
Yeah, he has.
He's an outlier on all of those graphs. Like the one that I just saw was just
7'2" wingspan.
Way in the right.
He's kind of big, man. Huge.
Yeah, man. I love Jaden, dude. And I think his offensive upside is pretty high. It's just a matter of opportunity with him. Opportunity, and if his handle gets 5% tighter. He's got a decent natural handle, but it's not fully polished yet. If it's 5% tighter, I think his offensive, production goes up more than 5%. So there's my take on Jaden McPippen.
I could dig it. Jaden McDaniels, I was really high on him coming out of college.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. All right, is there anything you guys want to say before we conclude the show?
I'm starving.
Zach?
What's that behind you?
This is like a flag of Ant and Cat with my Instagram logo on it.
He's so arrogant, bro.
I'll be honest.
No, I'm not.
Like, I'll be honest with you, man. Cat's dog shit. I'll be honest with you.
No comment.
Yeah, he's I don't. Would you guys
like Cat, but he's definitely.
Would you guys rather trade Cat or Gobert?
Cat, because you get more for Cat.
No, forget what you get. Like for the team, hypothetically.
Gobert.
I'll keep Rudy.
I would keep Rudy. I'll be honest.
For
Cat
me,
I feel like he would get in the way of Ant being a number one.
I don't know yet. I still got to see it before we can go to that conclusion because my theory on Cat is I don't know if I don't think his heart of hearts wants to be the guy because I don't think he wants to take that burden. But also, it's an acceptance thing. I think if Cat gets credit for deferring to Ant, I think he appreciates it. One thing I learned about Cat is he loves credit. So if he gets credit for taking a back seat, I think he would take that credit.
I mean, if he wants to win, he should take the back seat, undoubtedly.
Yeah, I think maybe in the playoffs he kind of did that, and I think he will start to do that when he comes back because I mean Ant pretty clearly looks like the best offensive option on this team right now. But yeah, I think it's harder to find a Cat skill set than it is to find what you can get on the market for Rudy Gobert, and that's why I would keep Cat because
Sure.
I think you can get like a really good rim protector who doesn't produce obviously like Rudy Gobert and maybe isn't the screener as Rudy Gobert for a lot less than where you could find a transcendent 40% 3-point shooter that's 7 foot and Cat that could score like 24 a game when he wants to. I think it's harder to find a Cat than it is a Gobert, and we drafted a Gobert kind of in the late first round this year in Walker Kessler, so I don't think you're ever going to find a Karl Anthony Towns late in the first round. I think you can find Rudy Gobert's though late in the first round. And that's probably why I keep Cat. And he's also, 4 years younger. So I don't know.
You also got to mention the reason why Cat had to take a back seat is because he was on the bench for fouling out all the time.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Him and Jaren Jackson Jr. were having a battle to see who could foul out faster in that series.
Oh God, that was a generation.
Cat was like half and half. He had some insane games in that series, and then he had some really down ones. Like he was either, he had maybe like one mid game, but he had a few really really good games in that series, and then he had 2 really bad ones.
Absolutely. Is there anything else, or should we conclude the show?
So what do you guys think is y'all ceiling this year?
Our ceiling? I don't think it's bigger, man.
I think they can be. I think they could, like, depend on the matchup. I think they could beat the Kings if they played them the first round.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody can beat the Kings.
But I don't know. We'll see. I think when Cat comes back, obviously the team gets better because, we got to find our foot offensively in a lot of areas. And he helps with that, and I think the bench gets so much better when you put Kyle Anderson back there. But yeah, we'll see. I think this team, when Cat comes back, we'll see. I think they could be a top 6 seed coming to the playoffs, but they could also be the 8 seed. But
if
I
they
think
get
they're
in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs.
Got to win the play-in.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised.
You might have the Warriors, you might have the Lakers, you might
Pelicans,
have Pelicans,
which would be tough.
I think those are tough matches for all those teams. I think they would all be saying the same things. But my take on the team is I just don't think it's our year. I think we're probably gonna be a first round team. I just think from the very start of the year, man, like Cat came in the year with a darn throat infection.
What?
How do you get a throat infection to start the year? And then he didn't do training camp. Rudy came in the year hurt, and then Cat gets hurt. Like
Ant came in bulking, and was like
I told my friends during the pandemic, I'm bulking, dude.
And had to drop like 15 pounds because he came in like a bodybuilder. Like if you look at the pictures of him in his photo shoots, holy crap, that dude
Bro's hilarious.
Massive. He looks like he could freaking bench like 500 pounds with what he was looking like coming in. he weighed more than Cat. He was
For
like
real?
240 pounds coming into training camp.
Damn, 6'4", that's not ideal.
Like
he's like 230, 225 now though.
Yeah.
He wasn't like he wasn't like that fat, but like he was like noticeably a little bit slower, and he had to figure that out, and he did.
He was 11% body fat, which isn't very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like 11% body fat, so I say it's great. But I think in the NBA standards, 11% body fat isn't very good.
I'm like 7% body fat.
Good for you, man. How tall are you guys? I know, Zach, you're tall. You're like 6'1".
I'm 6 feet flat.
I'm 6'2", so we're all kind of in the same range.
You guys are younger than me, so it's not ideal. Zach can probably get taller. He's only like 17.
Yeah,
that's true.
Zach can dunk too.
Oh yeah, I can't dunk.
When I was Zach's age and I was looking at my prom pictures, dude, my friends would roast me so bad. One of my friends said I looked like bling bling.
When I was Zach age, I was like 5'9", 5'8", 5'9".
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I had a
Yeah,
late growth spurt.
I'm hoping I got another inch in me. We'll see.
Yeah, you get all guys get like one more growth spurt, like 20 years old.
That could be a TikTok right there. What I said. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm going to use this to conclude the show. Thank you guys all for listening during this 2018 to 2022 NBA redraft combined in one. It's a good all-star break episode. So appreciate everybody for listening to this episode. And he's River Brown. Last comment, River. Your name just sounds like a character in the Outer Banks. Like, it just sounds like it would be in the Outer Banks for some reason. I have no clue why. I just kept thinking.
What is Outer Banks? What is that?
You never heard of that show?
I don't watch shows like that, man.
Oh, it's a pretty popular TV show. I've watched one season of it, but
Is it good?
yeah, it's good. It was like the most popular Netflix show for a while.
Oh, maybe I might tune in there.
It's pretty good. Yeah, Outer Banks. But I don't know. Maybe your name pops up as like a character in the movie or something eventually.
Yeah,
But-
hopefully.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow everybody's IG right here. This is everybody's accounts. And we'll see you next time.